On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, as construction of the streetcar continues, developers continue to gobble up property along the tracks. In this week's centerpiece, what would you build here? One of the biggest measures of success for the streetcar will be the economic development it spurs and the potential for rising property values along the 3.6-mile loop. Here's a map of the line. It runs up Main to 12th Street, up Elm, crossing at Henry to Ray Street, turning onto Central Parkway and down to Walnut before connecting back to Main Street. As construction on the streetcar line continues, the Business Courier looks at some of the spots that have the biggest potential for change. The Model Group is working on a $14 million redevelopment project that will reshape almost an entire block of Ray Street near Findlay Market. Village Green plans to add hundreds of apartments 2 blocks from a stop on Vine Street, and General Electric told government officials the streetcar was one of the reasons it selected the banks for its global operations center. And the potential doesn't exist just along adjacent properties. Some of the key spots being watched include Dixie Terminal at Vine and 3rd Streets, Tri-State Building on Walnut, Central Parkway parking lot at Central Parkway and Walnut, and several parcels around Findlay Market. Business Courier reporter Chris Wetterick is following the streetcar progress and development story and joins Business Watch producer Kelly Leon in the studio. Chris and Kelly.
Thanks, Peg.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great story. So are these local investors, all of the development?
Yeah, generally they are. There aren't a lot of out-of-town investors that have come on the scene yet. You know, there's probably out-of-town money that will come in on some of these, but generally, you know, you have the Model Group, you have 3CDC, which is the biggest player in over the Rhine, urban sites. You know, there are generally local people that we're talking about here.
So the Findlay Market property is really fascinating.
Right.
So there's 2 different areas there. Talk a little bit about those.
You know, the one we focused on in a web story on Friday was if you drive down Liberty, there's kind of some farmland that you can see, a very small amount where they grow crops that are sold at Findlay Market.
Yeah.
There's also a school on that block, but generally it's a vacant parcel of land. It's about 1.5 acres, and the people that own it bought it last year about sometime during the summer, and they hope to develop it either into an office, a majority office user with some residential component, or another residential structure that we've seen generally in over the Rhine from 3CDC. They really see a lot of potential there because it's not only near the streetcar line, but it's also near the Central Parkway bikeway. So you have 2 major alternative transportation nodes that are sitting near that building, or that site.
That site. Will some of the farmland be retained?
I'm not sure. Yeah. In their plans, they don't really retain much of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think their view is that it's more valuable with something on it. And, you know, I think that's generally, if you buy land in over the Rhine, or if you buy buildings, which is generally the case. This property is actually unique because it doesn't have many buildings on it. You can build from scratch, which is cheaper generally than the rehab work that has to be done in over the Rhine.
So to the question posed by the Business Courier on the front page, what would you build here?
Right.
What are the primary things that you're hearing? You mentioned office space.
Right. You know, you're going to generally see a mixture of office space, commercial space, and residential. The people that own the Findlay Market Farms for farm property, for example, they would hope to get a corporate headquarters of some sort there. There's a lot of people that want to work in over the Rhine in addition to just hanging out there and going to bars and restaurants and shopping there.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see more office space come there as time goes on.
Yeah. Well, time will tell. It could be totally transformative. Yeah. Interesting to see. Well,
Definitely.
Thanks for being here this morning, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Peg, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Kelly and Chris. That is a great read in the print edition.